Hello everyone, welcome to Desert Succulent. Today we're going to be featuring Kalanchoe Luciae, and it comes with different common names such as the red pancakes, dessert cabbage, paddle plant, and the flapjack succulent. Tinawag siya na paddle plant because of the paddle or clam-like shape ng kanyang leaves that usually form in rosette clusters. Tinawag din siyang red pancake because of the red tinge around the edges ng kanyang pinaka-leaves. Itong ating flapjack has a smooth and flat leaves that usually blush a beautiful red, especially if we're gonna be giving it the right amount of sunlight. It's one of those succulents na coated yung kanyang leaves and yung kanyang stems with this white na powder na tinatawag nating bloom, or also known as the farina, and usually it protects it from excessively bright conditions as well as moisture loss. So yun yung purpose ng ating mga farina sa kanilang pinaka-leaves, and as much as possible we need to avoid touching nga yung kanyang pinaka-leaves, especially na mabilis talaga matanggal yung kanyang powder as compared with other succulents. And in any case na natanggal nga natin unintentionally yung kanyang white na powder, we have to move it in a bright shaded area for at least 2 weeks or more since they are prone to sunburns. In time, magkakaroon din tayo ng flower, and usually the stalks would grow to a height of nearly 2 meters dito sa pinakagitna. That's about 6 feet. And yung kanyang flowers would be yellowish white, and they are usually in clusters. We have to remember that after the flower finishes, itong particular rosette would eventually die since these plants are considered monocarpic. Although the good thing is mabilis mag-produce ng offsets itong ating mga flapjack, and when the moment has come na mamamatay na siya, you would definitely have multiple offsets already. Since this kind of succulent is a native to South Africa, we would be expecting na yung kanyang environment should be in an area that has lots of sun. It's also okay if nakalagay sila sa ating partial sun, but if the plant doesn't get enough light, yung kanyang color would be greenish, as in literally green lang yung kanyang color, and you won't be expecting na magkakaroon nga siya nitong ating orange red na color, especially dito nga sa kanyang pinaka leaf margins. In very hot and sunny summer months, we need to offer yung ating flapjack a little bit of protection against yung intense direct sunlight, as this can result in damage sa kanilang pinaka leaves. This kind of succulent requires warm temperatures, and they are perfect here in the Philippines kasi all year round we have that kind of tropical temperatures. Unfortunately, they are not suited to very humid na climates like us here in the Philippines, kung saan buong taon we are having this very high na humidity level. Kaya what we can do with that one is to put this in an area with very good air circulation or yung ating airflow. As you would expect with a typical succulent, our flapjacks are drought tolerant, and we should be careful not to overwater them. We have to make sure that the soil will dry out fully before rewatering it once again. So kung masyadong mainit ang panahon, then you have to water it once a week at least, or even twice a week. Pero during our colder months, I usually water them every 2 weeks or sometimes once a month lang. Depende na yan on your location. Our flapjack would also appreciate if we're gonna be feeding it with a balanced and diluted fertilizer, especially nga during their growing period, which is usually during the hottest months of the year. This is what I usually use sa aking mga succulents. It's a granular form kind of fertilizer from Japan, and all you need to do is mix it sa ating tubig. Although you have to remember na yung ating mga flapjacks are monocarpic, kaya I don't usually fertilize this kind of succulent. Kasi nga, if you will be fertilizing this one, we are encouraging yung kanyang blooms, and pag nag-bloom na siya, it would eventually die. Kaya you have to remember na wag nyong i-fertilize yung inyong mga monocarpic succulents like this flapjack. Our flapjack succulent prefer yung ating well-draining na soil mix. As long as your soil mix doesn't retain too much moisture, then it will help ensure na magsusurvive nga yung inyong flapjack. If you have plans of growing this one indoors, you have to make sure that the pot you're gonna be using has a good drainage, or dapat may mga drainage holes siyang ganyan, kasi nga once they are indoors, mas matagal mag-dry yung kanilang pinaka-soil. Propagating them is also very simple through their leaves, through stem cuttings, and the best thing is that itong ating mga flapjack, they are good at producing offsets. Like for example doon, that's one offset already. Doon sa pinaka-ilalim niya, we have another offset doon. Medyo malaki na rin. And here, in between sa kanyang leaves, we have that offset. Ayun no, we have that tiny offset na tumutubo doon. And we even have here under, and this one as well. Mabilis talaga silang magpadami. But if we're gonna be propagating yung kanilang pinaka-leaves, that's also possible, but it's a little bit tricky. Hindi siya madaling tanggalin sa kanyang pinaka-stem, especially na ang laki nitong kanyang leaves. So, if for example, we will be removing this one, and if napunit yung isang part dito, then eventually your propagation won't be successful enough. And I have here an example of a leaf propagated na flapjack. We had an arrangement before na puro leaf cuttings lang sila, and look at them now. Ang bilis nilang lumaki, and one of them is actually our flapjack. Ayan siya. In fact, mas stress yung kanyang color as compared doon nga sa ating pinaka mother plant doon. We can really appreciate yung kanyang reddish color in this part, and even here. This is probably about 5 to 6 months old na leaf propagation. We have to check it for any signs of pest infestation, and what's nice about our flapjack is that since it's a big size na succulent, we can easily see kung may mga mealybugs in between sa kanilang pinaka-leaves. And at the same time, we also need to check for any fungal attack, especially yung ating mga powdery mildew na napapanahon ngayong rainy season. You can make use of any fungicide that you wish just to make sure na talagang healthy yung ating mga flapjack. And that's all for today's care guide. Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. You may also visit our Facebook page at Desert Succulent PH.